Billionaire yells at black waitress. She replies with one line that freezes the entire restaurant. The restaurant's chandelier glinted like a frozen star, but the air burned with rage. Marcus Vanderbilt, billionaire tycoon, stood over table 12, his voice a blade slicing through the hum of fine dining. "You call this service?" he bellowed, slamming his wine glass down, the crimson liquid sloshing onto the pristine tablecloth. "I've had better from street vendors." Every head in Lucille turned, forks suspended, conversations choked into silence. Lena Washington, the black waitress at the center of a storm, stood unflinching, her apron spotless, her eyes steady. She was 28, a single mother working double shifts to keep her daughter's dreams alive, and she'd seen men like Vanderbilt before, men who thought money bought them the right to degrade. The evening had started like any other at Lucille, Manhattan's crown jewel of dining. Crystal glasses clinked, and laughter floated like perfume. Lena moved with grace, balancing trays and smiles, her dark curls pinned neatly under a cap. She'd served Vanderbilt's table him, his trophy wife, and two suited associates with precision, refilling drinks before they asked, memorizing orders without a notepad. But Vanderbilt, flush with a recent merger and too many glasses of Bordeaux, was hunting for a fight. When Lena cleared his appetizer plate a moment too soon, he erupted. "Do you even know who I am?" He spat, his voice dripping with entitlement. "You're nothing but a—" He stopped short of the word, but it hung in the air, heavy as a guillotine. Lena's heart pounded, not from fear but from the weight of every eye in the room. She knew this moment. She'd felt it in the glances that lingered too long, the whispers that followed her through life. Her grandmother's stories of sit-ins and marches echoed in her mind, tales of dignity forged in fire. Vanderbilt's finger jabbed closer, his face a mask of contempt. "You're incompetent," he continued, louder now, feeding off the audience. "People like you don't belong in places like this." The room gasped, a collective intake of breath that seemed to suck the oxygen out. A child at a nearby table whimpered. The manager, frozen behind the bar, didn't move. Lena's hands trembled, but her voice did not. She set down the tray she'd been holding, the clink of plates like a gavel. She looked straight into Vanderbilt's eyes, not as a waitress, but as a woman who'd carried the weight of prejudice since she could walk. "Sir," she said, her tone clear, cutting through the silence like a bell. "Your wealth can't buy my worth." The words landed like a thunderclap. The restaurant froze waiters mid-step, wine glasses hovering, even the pianist's fingers stalling on the keys. Vanderbilt's mouth opened, then closed, his face paling as if she'd struck him. The silence stretched, taut as a wire. Then, from a corner table, a woman began to clap. Slow, deliberate. Another joined, then a man, until the room erupted in applause, not for a performance, but for a truth laid bare. Lena stood tall, her eyes never leaving Vanderbilt's. His wife tugged at his sleeve, whispering something frantic, but he was rooted, his bluster deflated. The associates shifted uncomfortably, their power suits suddenly ill-fitting. The manager finally moved, but not toward Lena, toward Vanderbilt, murmuring about the bill. Lena didn't wait for their reaction. She turned, walking back to the kitchen, her steps measured, her head high. Behind her, the applause grew louder, a wave of respect that followed her through the swinging doors. In the kitchen, her friend Jamal, the line cook, grabbed her hand. "You okay?" he asked, his eyes wide. She nodded, a small smile breaking through. "I'm more than okay," she said. "I'm free." Word the incident spread like wildfire. By morning, Lucille's social media was flooded with posts about the waitress who shut down a billionaire. Customers left 5-star reviews, not for the food, but for Lena's courage. A local journalist tracked her down, and soon Lena's story was on every newsstand, her one line quoted in headlines, "Your wealth can't buy my worth." Activists shared it, teachers read it to their classes, and strangers sent letters to the restaurant, some with tips tucked inside. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, issued a stilted apology on X, claiming a misunderstanding, but the internet wasn't buying it. His merger talks faltered, his name now tied to a moment of shame. Lena didn't revel in the attention. She went back to work the next day, serving tables with the same quiet grace. But something had shifted. Customers smiled at her, not just with politeness, but with respect. A professor at table 8 offered to write her daughter a recommendation for college. A lawyer at table 3 slipped her a card, whispering, "If you ever need someone in your corner." At home, Lena hugged her daughter, Maya, and told her the story, not of a billionaire's fall, but of a woman's stand. "Never let anyone tell you you're less," she said, her voice thick with love. Months later, Lucille put up a small chalkboard near the entrance, a nod to that night. In bold letters, it read, words that stopped a storm. Lena saw it and laughed, shaking her head. She wasn't a hero, just a woman who'd had enough. But in that moment, in that restaurant, her words had done more than silence. A bulletin reminded everyone that dignity isn't for sale, no matter the price. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.